My name is Maddie Alruna, and I am a tarot reader, author, and mentor. And today I wanted to talk about the Ten of Pentacles. Now, just like anyone, if I've asked a question about financial stability or my business, then I am really excited to see this card. But every card is so full of nuances. And let's be honest, this is a really complex card. So I wanted to ask today whether you've seen the connections to some of the other cards in this card, because I'm not even going to talk about all of the connections today, just some of the cards that really resonate with me when I look at this card. The first one is the Six of Cups. Because to me, one of the things when I look at the Six of Cups, the background is all-encompassing. To me, it feels claustrophobic. I imagine the Six of Cups as looking back at my past, at my childhood, and becoming captivated by it. I know a lot of people see this as nostalgia, and it can be. But it can also be childhood wounds, childhood trauma, and being trapped by your past, because there's no way out of this. And I get a similar feeling of claustrophobia when I look at the Ten of Pentacles. There's no way out. So the Ten of Pentacles to me can be being trapped or feeling claustrophobic, not by your past, but by your plans and your hopes for the future. The next card I want to bring your attention to, or find the connection between, is the Fool. So here we have, and one of the things that's really curious about the Ten of Pentacles is the perspective. But we clearly have here a black pole with what appears to be a white teardrop at the top, which I would say is making it a wand rather than a pole. And actually, if we look really carefully, and I'm reading with my giant Rider-Waite cards here, there appears to be a white tip at the end of the Fool staff. Now, with the white rose that the Fool is holding, and the white rose also being in the Death card, and the white rose to me is the bloodless rose. So I consider the Fool can be an unincarnated spirit. And with the link between the black pole and the black pole here, I think this old man, who seems to be unnoticed by all but the dogs, is perhaps an ancestor who has passed. So sometimes when we see the Ten of Pentacles, it is talking about our ancestry, whether that is kith or kin, culture, heritage. It may even be talking about inheritance coming through. But there is definitely, I feel, a connection with our ancestors. It's not identical, but I think there is a connection between the King of Pentacles robes and the old man's robes. That makes me feel that this old man is someone who has held power, and perhaps held power well in his past. He is someone who should be respected, but perhaps is unnoticed because he's no longer in physical form. It's a tenuous connection, but sometimes tenuous connections are just fine. We do have a checkerboard pattern here, which is found also on the Hierophant. So maybe this is suggesting hierarchy, learning. It's one of those things where it wouldn't normally catch my eye. But if you've done a reading and the Ten of Pentacles and the Hierophant are both in the same reading, then your eye may catch the fact that there is the same checkerboard pattern, and then you've got a link between the two cards. So it's not a symbol that I would necessarily think as being very important, but if you are doing a reading and you notice that the checkerboard pattern is repeated elsewhere, then I think it's definitely worth paying attention to. I cannot get away from the fact that this tower does have a similarity to the tower in the Tower card. The tower seems to rise above everything else and be framed by the blue sky and by the archway. The pentacles forming the Kabbalah even frame this tower as well. I would even say when I look at the Ten of Pentacles, my eye goes straight to the tower. And either side of the tower, we have the male and the female, the red and the blue, and arguably we have a similar thing here with the red and the blue figures. However much we may desire the financial abundance that the Ten of Pentacles can offer us, that it's a 10. There is a need to start again, start the cycle again. I don't see Ace to 10 as a single line. I see it as a circle. And I think for me, after the 10 comes the Ace. Once you've found your security, the nature of life is that we need to move on, leave our comfort zone, strike out once more. Life is constant change. Nothing is secure forever. So I feel that if you linger too long in the Ten of Pentacles, then the crash may be harder, and that the tower is, in a subtle way, included in the Ten of Pentacles. And just as we have the scales in the Six of Pentacles, we also have the scales in Justice. That was another card I could have pulled at this point, but I mean, I decided to limit the cards rather than pull every single card. We actually have scales here drawn on the archway. Now, when it comes to reading tarot, my best tip I can ever give you is to take the time to look at the cards. I'm going to be doing a series now on tarot combinations, because I know that's something people really ask a lot about. And the honest answer is I don't think it's possible to memorize all the tarot combinations. I certainly don't think it's possible to write a book that covers all the tarot combinations. We can do some of the big ones, and that's what I'm going to be doing. And we can play around with tools and techniques, which is definitely what I'm going to be doing. But at the end of the day, the only real way to read tarot combinations is to look at the cards and to see where symbols or nuances are repeated. When I read tarot, just moving my enormous cards out of the way, these are my reading cards. This is the Pamela Coleman Smith Centenary Edition. I just really, really like the colours. I love the fact that this is based upon what Pamela Coleman Smith would have wanted us to see when she created her images. Obviously, this is a very well used deck. If you've seen my videos, if you've had a reading with me, and I am full-time tarot reader, so you are welcome to book in with me for a reading. I run a monthly Zoom workshop, which is fully recorded. So if you are unable to join the Zoom, you get a private YouTube link the next day. I also teach a tarot correspondence course, so this is my full-time gig. But if you've seen me do tarot readings, either in person or on YouTube, you will notice that I do not do, you couldn't have made it up, right? I would love to say that, like my son, I am a magician, and I consciously brought that card to the top of the deck, but I'm not. That is a genuine tarot spread there. The Ten of Pentacles can also represent clutter. I'm very glad you can't see the rest of the room where I'm reading from, because I am currently decluttering on a huge level. So that's just thrown me off for a minute, the pure synchronicity of that. I don't do one card readings. I might do now and then if I'm in the flow of a bigger reading. But in principle, I will do at least 3 cards, because I think the nuance, the detail, the magic happens when we look at the tarot combinations, when we look at the message between the cards, rather than looking at just one card. And in a reading like this, where I was just asking, what do I need to know right now? I would also be including the card at the bottom of the pack. And in a situation like this, obviously at the moment, I'm completely mind blown by the fact that the one card this video was about was the first card I pulled. But I'm also on a personal level really linking it to 3 of Pentacles and to creating a clear and balanced structure, which will allow me to make positive changes to my life. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I took a little bit of time out. Basically, I went away for a weekend, my first time in 20 years where I've been away, and it wasn't to do with work or family time. But as a self-employed solo mum, it meant when I got back, I had quite a lot to catch up on. So I'm going to be getting back on top of YouTube now. If you've been waiting for me to reply to comments or to load more videos, thank you for waiting. If you've enjoyed the video, do subscribe, head to my website, have a look at all the different ways that we can connect over tarot.